Hello, Bible scholars. It is your mom of three and rainy. It's rainy today, NYC. And I'm back with another video. Yay! Before we get into the actual video, I just want to make sure that I respect all of you guys and let you know that the chapters that we're reviewing today, chapters 13 and 14, they do contain sexual violence. So if that would be a trigger for you, I would rather you just click off right now and not watch the video, because I know how sensitive that topic can be for a lot of people. So again, there is sexual violence in the chapters that we are reading today. If that could be a trigger for you, please do not watch this video any further. All right, if this is your first time on my channel, welcome. My name is Taneza. I am the mom of three studious. My kids are very studious. I like to think so. In the heart of New York City on an adventure, reading through the Bible for the very first time in my entire life. I would love for you to join my YouTube family, my tribe, by subscribing and then by tuning in every day to my Bible study reviews to become a Bible scholar. Today's video is a review, 2 Samuel chapters 13 and 14. Before we dive in, you guys, I have something exciting to show you. I did a review on the Moleskine. I'll link that right here. I use Moleskine hardcover notebooks for my notes. Guess what happened today, Bible scholars? The last page. This is the one that I started in, Genesis chapter 1, our very first review. And now it's completed. Don't worry, I got another one on deck. You guys know I love to have supplies ready and waiting. So I'll be using my new one tomorrow. But this has notes for Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, and now 2 Samuel. There's a lot. This is chock full of goodness. Yeah, I'm actually going to keep all of them, but I love Moleskine. I love Moleskine. Verses that I read will be out of the NIV translation, but you don't need a Bible, because every verse that I read, I'll put on the screen for you. I think that's it. Let's just jump into it. The very last page of my notebook. Chapter 13. We meet Amnon, the son of David. Amnon fell in love with his sister Tamar. He loved her so much, the Bible says, that he made himself ill. He had an advisor named Jonadab who told Amnon to lie down, pretend to be ill, ask for Tamar to not just bring him food, to prepare food for him in front of him. So Tamar needed some bread. She baked the bread, but he refused to eat. Instead, Amnon had Tamar come into his bedroom to feed him by hand. I wanted to read for you guys 2 Samuel chapter 13, verses 11, 12, and 13. But when she took it to him to eat, the bread that she had baked in front of him, he grabbed her and said, "Come to bed with me, my sister." "Don't, my brother," she said to him. "Don't force me." I forgot to mention she is a virgin, so I also wanted to mention that as well. "Don't, my brother," she said to him. "Don't force me. Such a thing should not be done in Israel. Don't do this wicked thing. What about me? Where could I get rid of my disgrace? And what about you? You would be like one of the wicked fools in Israel. Please speak to the king. He will not keep me from being married to you." He did not heed her instruction or her cry. Amnon raped Tamar. Then Amnon hated her. The Bible says as much as he loved her before, he hated her now. He tried to send her away. Finally, he had to have his servant literally put her out and deadbolt lock the door behind her. Tamar tore the ornate robe. So virgin daughters of King David wore these ornate robes. She tore the robe she was wearing. She put ashes on her forehead and she wept aloud. I wanted to read for you verses 20, 21, and 22. Verse 20. Her brother Absalom said to her, "Has that Amnon, your brother, been with you? Be quiet now, my sister. He is your brother. Don't take this thing to heart." Tamar lived in her brother Absalom's house, a desolate woman. When King David heard all of this, he was furious. Absalom never said a word to Amnon, either good or bad. He hated Amnon because he had disgraced his sister Tamar. Verse 23, 2 years later, when Absalom's sheep shearers were at Baal Hazor, near the border of Ephraim, he invited all the king's sons to come there. Amnon was one that joined him. Verse 28, Absalom ordered his men, "Listen, when Amnon is in high spirits from drinking wine, I say to you, strike Amnon down, then kill him. Don't be afraid. Have not I given you this order? Be strong and brave." Absalom's men did to Amnon what Absalom had ordered. Then all the king's sons got up, mounted their mules, and fled. The report came to King David that Absalom had struck down all the king's sons. Not one was left. Verse 31 and 32, King stood up, tore his clothes, and lay down on the ground. All the servants stood by with their clothes torn. Verse 32, but Jonadab, son of Shemaiah, David's brother, said, "My lord should not think that they killed all the princes. Only Amnon is dead. This has been Absalom's expressed intention ever since the day Amnon raped his sister Tamar." Absalom fled to Geshur, I believe that's right, for 3 years. Bible scholars, there's just so much that happens. I think sometimes, well, at least for me, in my case growing up, you learn Bible stories that are sometimes watered down and or not told to you. And so in our mind, we have this image of like olden times, like people on the prairie, out in the wild, but like the same things that people suffer from today happened back then. And I think it takes like reading the word on your own for yourself to realize that unfortunately the same crimes, the same traumas that happen today happened back then. Oof, you guys, it's heavy. Chapter 14. Joab knew that King David missed Absalom, so he sent for a wise woman. I want to read verse 2. Joab sent someone to Tekoa, had a wise woman brought from there. He said to her, "Pretend you are in mourning, dress in mourning clothes. Don't use any cosmetic lotions. Act like a woman who has spent many days grieving for the dead. Then go to the king and speak these words to him." And then Joab tells this woman to tell the king this story. She tells King David that she had 2 sons who got into a fight. No one separated them, so one son ended up striking the other son and killing him. Not only is she a widow because her husband is passed and she's lost a son, but the son that she does have has been banished. I wanted to read for you verse 8. King said to the woman, "Go home, I will issue an order in your behalf. Her son will be free to come to her to carry on the family name." She asked a pardon for her family. So then she brought up the fact that, his own son has been banished. King David asked her, "Did Joab put you up to this?" Yes. Change the present situation. Verse 21, the king said to Joab, "Very well, I will do it. Go bring back the young man Absalom." Absalom did not see the face of the king. He went straight to his own house. Absalom had 3 sons and 1 daughter, whom he named Tamar. He was there for a full 2 years, living in Jerusalem. He hadn't seen his father, and then his father's advisor, who was the one that got him back, Joab. He called for Joab. Joab didn't come. A second time, Joab didn't come. He set fire. Joab lived next to him. So what Absalom did was he set fire to the field, and that then brought Joab out. So I wanted to read for you guys verses 32 and 33. Absalom said to Joab, "Look, I sent word to you and said, 'Come here so I can send you to the king to ask, why have I come from Geshur? It would be better for me if I were still there. Now then, I want to see the king's face. If I am guilty of anything, let him put me to death.' So Joab went to the king, told him this. Then the king summoned Absalom, and he came in, bowed down with his face to the ground before the king, and the king kissed Absalom." Wow. What a story of redemption. What a story of redemption. Woo! Bible scholars, thank you for reading this with me. Thank you for your support. Questions, any comments, revelations, drop them in the comments down below. The next review will be of chapters 15 and 16. All right, Bible scholars, please have an awesome rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you in our next review. Bye for now, Bible scholars.